Endometriosis is more than just bad period pain. It is a whole body inflammatory condition that affects 1 in 10 women of reproductive age, yet it often goes undiagnosed for years. Welcome back. My name is Gideon. I am a women's functional health practitioner helping you rebalance your gut, skin, energy, and cycle. And in this video, I want to go over what's happening in your body and what lifestyle shifts can actually make a difference if you've ever just been told, well, that's just normal. What you're going through is normal. No, no, no. This is a top 5 most painful condition that women experience. And I got a message from our community member over on my Instagram at Kieran with 2 N's Jagpal asking for recommendations for people who suffer with endometriosis. And so I wanted to address that in today's video. We're going to be going through 4 different areas. As a quick overview, endometriosis is a multisystemic inflammatory disease. So it is not just a reproductive issue. It is caused by endometrial like cells that grow outside the uterus on the bowels, the bladder, the ovaries more. It is estrogen driven, and we're going to be talking about supporting estrogen detoxification later on in this video. So the issue is with estrogen, it being processed or not being cleared properly. Estrogen overall is not the enemy. And one theory when it comes to a root cause of endo is retrograde menstruation, but we now know that there's more factors than that alone. Genetics, your immune dysfunction, your gut health, what's happening with your hormones, how they're being metabolized, it all plays this big role. If you've ever heard of endobelly, when you're experiencing severe pain, PMS, mimicking IBS, being told that you have IBS. There are a lot of moving pieces when it comes to endo. And I'm actually going to make myself smaller as we go through the next few slides. And so the focus today is to share some lifestyle shifts that can calm the fire, quote unquote. Because if we know that inflammation is occurring in the body with endometriosis, what are some ways our overarching goal is then going to be to reduce this inflammation? And so, starting off, because I do have like a 1, 2, 3, 4, this was an international survey that was conducted. It was 2,500 over like 2,599 individuals with endometriosis that found that dietary changes, so this included reduction or eliminating gluten, dairy, alcohol, caffeine. This was self-reported in the survey that they experienced less pain. So specifically 45% of those who stopped eating gluten, 45% who took out dairy, 43% of women who reduced their caffeine intake, 53% who reported that they cut back on alcohol. And so, as with studies, especially a survey, there are limitations. And this is not to say, okay, step 1, remove everything of the above immediately. But this is to bring awareness to the fact that our food changes, the modifications that we make in our diet, what we add in more of, sometimes it's what we're removing, impacts our body, can impact endometriosis pain. And so I would love to know, if you have endometriosis, has there been a big food trigger for you that when you removed it, you noticed a drastic impact in the level of pain that you were experiencing? So I'd love to hear about that. Alcohol, we know, does not have any benefit in the body. So reducing that, I know personally for me, caffeine is a trigger. So this is something where you're going to look individually. Gluten has, the research backs it up. For gluten, there is some information out there. And so it's truly about experimenting whether that looks like an anti-inflammatory diet for you. And so in our short session here today, I'm not going to be able to go into the level of depth that I'd love to in order to understand where you are in your journey. Are you in the beginning stages? Has this been undiagnosed for many years? Do you suspect that you have endometriosis? And so lots of moving pieces, but one thing's for sure is that endo pain is worsened by inflammation. And so when we think about blood sugar spikes, this equals inflammation spikes. And so what we can focus on is the whole foods. Fiber, fat, protein. You've probably heard it all the time. I hope you've heard it at least once. To be incorporating that into your meals, that fiber is really going to support your insulin levels. It's going to support your bowel movements because we need to be eliminating daily. Are you having regular bowel movements? We're going to be talking about the gut connection here. You know, Fiber is like it's going to support healthy insulin and it's going to act like a natural GLP-1. So, when we're creating a plate, how can we incorporate protein into our diet, but also the greens, the cruciferous veggies? This can look like chia seeds, salmon, lentils, eggs, different things. And so once you find a few different meals that really support what's going on, especially for breakfast ladies, having that 30 grams of protein in the morning, that's also going to support your cortisol levels. Now, you've probably, number 2, have heard that endometriosis is an estrogen dependent condition. But what does that really mean? And so I want you to rewind to when the symptoms really started showing up for you. Was it around your first, second period? Was your period just extremely painful and you were just told, you know what, this is normal? Because when women hit puberty, you experience a surge in estrogen, which is normal and necessary, but it's going to hit some women harder than it should. And so early on, having that pain, maybe this looked like heavy, heavy, heavy bleeding, um, headaches, migraines, mood swings, cramps that you were like going out of school. You could not go to school. It was that bad. And, it got brushed aside for a long period of time because there is this narrative that period pain is just normal. Like the pain is normal. Every woman experiences this. And now we're seeing that shift where it's like, no, period pain isn't normal. It's common, not normal. And especially debilitating pain is not normal. And so that could have been the early signs. And where your gut comes into this is that estrogen isn't just made, it also needs to be cleared by your body. And when your body's done using estrogen, it sends it to the liver to be packaged and it's excreted in your gut through your poop, through your bowels. And so that's why I asked earlier about the bowel movements because are we going regularly 1 to 3 times a day? We're learning then how is your liver clearing out excess estrogen. So when I do testing on women, functional testing, Dutch testing, we get to see phase 1 and phase 2 of estrogen detoxification and what support might look like. And then we see phase 3 in your stool, which is the GI map test. And so this brings back that connection between IBS and endometriosis, but also, well, how can we support estrogen detoxification in the liver? One big way is through incorporating cruciferous vegetables into your diet, into your meals, lunch, dinner, something for you to consider. Third point here is your liver, which has over 500 functions and is working so, so, so hard for you every single day. It also helps to clear estrogen, like we just talked about. It also needs certain nutrients to be best supported, like your B vitamins, magnesium, leafy greens. We also want to minimize xenoestrogens. They act like estrogens in your body and they clog up your receptors. So these can be found in things like fragrances, plastics is a big one. And so it's important when we're looking to reduce overall inflammation to understand what are my triggers. Do I get sick or feel more pain or just have headaches or this level of brain fog, anxiety, whatever that might look like for your body when I'm wearing a certain perfume, when I'm, using certain products in my home? And so by reducing your overall toxic load, that's going to help your liver by default. By default, it's going to. And it really is a matter of, it's not all or nothing, one thing at a time, right? Whether you're looking at your laundry detergent, which is something I focus on as a full pillar in my 12-week program, Hormone Harmony Academy, 3 months of the program and 6 months total support. And so these are things that it's a journey, right? Not everyone starts with, okay, non-toxic this, lower toxic this, lower toxic this, but one thing at a time. And it will make a difference in your overall pain management. Now, number 4, testing for a personalized approach. So, wherever you are at in your journey, maybe you have gotten surgery, you want to reduce reoccurrence, maybe you've experienced reoccurrence, maybe it's the beginning stages, maybe you've had endometriosis for 15 years now. So wherever you are at, to make the necessary next steps by being able to get the labs done on your body of what is happening, whether we're looking at your blood work, seeing what's happening with your insulin levels, seeing what your blood sugar is showing us, but getting the full testing done. The GI map, the stool test that I was talking about, it's going to reveal what's going on in your gut, including um, how estrogen is being cleared. Is it being recirculated? There is a marker, beta glucuronidase, on the GI map stool test and the Dutch hormone test. Having this information together about what is happening with your hormones, how your body is clearing out estrogen, what can be supported, gives insight into what the best next steps or targeted support for you individually would look like. It gives a better action plan of what more can we do to really hone in, tailor it, create a personalized roadmap to reduce what you are currently experiencing. And so, again, this is very individualized. But if you are at a stage in your life where you can invest in a practitioner who runs these labs and can give you detailed information about what next to support your body, it's 100% worth it. I know it can be very tricky to get the testing that you want done depending on where you live in the world. And then functional labs, of course, are not traditionally done by your MD. And so this is definitely a consideration. If you currently have endometriosis and you have found things, but lifestyle shifts that have made a massive difference in your health, I'd love for you to comment below for other women who are looking for this kind of support and guidance, whatever stage you are in your journey. All right. And if you have questions, I'd love to make a follow up on this. This was an overview, sharing a few pieces. I know a lot of information can get overwhelming all at once, and so I like to break it down. But questions, what you'd like me to go more in depth on, please comment that below, like this video so that it can reach more women. And as always, I am sending you so, so much love wherever you are.